The package left Mia Carter's hands before common sense had time to stop her. 1 second she was standing on the marble steps of a massive Manhattan townhouse in freezing December rain, soaked through her red delivery jacket and furious after waiting 12 minutes for someone to answer the door. The next second, she was staring at a tall man in a charcoal sweater as the small cardboard box landed squarely against his chest. He caught it automatically, more surprised than hurt. "There," Mia snapped. "Delivery completed." The stranger looked down at the box, then back at her. "Do you usually throw packages at customers?" "Only the ones who watch me freeze through a security camera before opening the door." His dark eyebrows lifted. Mia immediately suspected she had made a terrible professional decision, but she was already late for 14 deliveries and had exactly $37 left until payday. Pride was currently more affordable than patience. "Sign here." She held out her scanner. The man took it. "You waited 12 minutes. 12 minutes and 43 seconds. You counted?" "My supervisor counts everything." He signed simply Daniel and handed the scanner back. Mia glanced at the signature. "Great. Have a nice life, Daniel." She turned toward her battered delivery van. "Wait." She looked back. The man was still holding the package. He appeared to be in his mid-30s, with dark hair, tired blue eyes, and the kind of expensive sweater Mia assumed rich people bought specifically to look as though they had not tried. But something about him seemed strangely ordinary. There was no staff hovering nearby, no holiday party inside the enormous house, no family voices. Through the open door she saw a grand foyer decorated with a 12-foot Christmas tree that had no presents beneath it. "You're bleeding," he said. Mia looked at her hand. A cardboard edge had opened a tiny cut across one knuckle. "Occupational hazard. At least let me get you a bandage. I have 14 stops left." 13. "What? You completed this one." Mia stared at him, then laughed despite herself. "You're annoying. You threw a package at me. And somehow you're still the difficult one." For the first time, Daniel smiled. It transformed his face so completely that Mia briefly forgot she was standing in rain. Then her scanner beeped with another late delivery warning. "I have to go." Daniel looked as if he wanted to say something else, but Mia was already jogging toward the van. She drove away without knowing that Daniel Hart was not merely the owner of the townhouse. He was the 37-year-old founder of Hartwell Technologies, a billionaire whose name appeared on financial magazines, airport advertisements, and buildings Mia passed every day without noticing. Daniel watched her van disappear around the corner, then carried the package into a house containing 23 rooms and exactly one person. He placed the box on the kitchen counter and opened it. Inside was a ceramic Christmas ornament shaped like a small blue house. He stared at it in confusion. He had not ordered it. A handwritten card beneath it read, "For Daniel. Every house deserves someone waiting inside. Love, Mom." Daniel sat down slowly. His mother had died 11 months earlier. The order had apparently been scheduled before her death. He remained there for nearly an hour, holding the ornament while rain tapped against the windows. Then he noticed something stuck beneath the shipping label. A small delivery receipt had torn loose from Mia's scanner pouch. At the bottom was her name, Mia Carter. Daniel looked toward the empty foyer and realized the first person who had made his house feel alive in almost a year had entered his life by throwing a package at him. The next morning, Mia was summoned to her supervisor's office. She walked in expecting to be fired. Her supervisor, Glenn, held a printed complaint form. "Did you throw a customer's package yesterday?" Mia considered lying for approximately half a second. "Define throw." Glenn removed his glasses. "Mia. Fine. Yes. But he caught it. That is not the defense you think it is." Mia sank into the chair. She needed this job. Her younger sister Lily was finishing nursing school, their mother's old medical debt still existed, and Mia's savings account contained less money than the coffee machine in the lobby probably collected in a week. Am I fired? No, Mia blinked. Glenn turned his monitor toward her. The customer contacted corporate this morning. Of course he did. He specifically requested that you not be disciplined. What? He said the delayed response was his fault and gave you a 5-star service rating. Mia stared at the screen. That makes no sense. Glenn shrugged. Rich people. He's rich. Glenn laughed. You seriously don't know who Daniel Hart is? Mia did not. 10 minutes later, she stood beside her van searching his name on her phone. The first photograph showed Daniel in a tuxedo at a technology conference. The headline beneath it described him as one of America's youngest self-made billionaires. Mia nearly dropped the phone. Oh, no. Her coworker Jasmine leaned over. What? Mia showed her. Jasmine's eyes widened. You assaulted capitalism. I threw a 2-pound box. At a billionaire. I didn't know. That makes it funnier. Mia groaned. Her route that afternoon included the same neighborhood. She prayed Daniel would not have another delivery. At 4:17 p.m., the scanner displayed 18 East 74th Street. Absolutely not. Yet 20 minutes later she was back on his steps holding a narrow package marked fragile. The door opened immediately. Daniel stood there wearing a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up. You answered quickly. I was afraid you'd test your pitching arm again. Mia tried not to smile. I found out who you are. Daniel? Billionaire Daniel. That sounds exhausting. You could have told me. You didn't ask. She handed him the package very carefully. For the record, I would not have thrown yesterday's box if I knew. Something in his expression changed. That's disappointing. Why? Because yesterday you treated me normally. Mia studied him. Normally includes throwing things. Apparently. She expected arrogance. Instead she saw loneliness. It was there only for a second, but she recognized it because she had seen the same expression in her own mirror after her father died. Daniel signed the scanner. Would you like coffee? Is that how billionaires prevent future package incidents? I'm experimenting. Mia checked her route. She was ahead by 8 minutes. 5 minutes. Daniel led her into the kitchen. The enormous house was immaculate and silent. 2 mugs sat beside a coffee machine, though only one appeared used. You live here alone? She asked. Yes. In all this? The rooms don't charge extra when they're empty. Mia accepted the coffee. On the counter she noticed the blue house ornament. That was yesterday's package. Daniel nodded. My mother ordered it before she died. Mia's teasing expression disappeared. I'm sorry. Thank you. He looked at the ornament. She worried about me living alone. Mothers are talented at worrying. Was yours? Still is. She calls if I don't answer a text within 6 minutes. Daniel smiled faintly. That sounds nice. Mia realized he meant it. 5 minutes became 9. Before leaving, she placed the ornament carefully on a branch of the giant tree. There. Daniel looked surprised. What are you doing? Your tree looked unfinished. It was professionally decorated. Exactly the problem. Mia grabbed her scanner. Now it has something personal. She hurried out. Daniel remained beside the tree long after the door closed. For the first time since his mother died, one ornament on that perfectly designed tree meant more to him than everything else in the room. Over the next 2 weeks, Daniel began receiving an absurd number of packages. Mia noticed by the 4th delivery. You ordered 6 kinds of coffee filters, she asked from the doorway. Research. You own a technology company. Coffee is technology adjacent. You're ordering things just to get deliveries. Daniel looked offended. That would be financially irresponsible. Mia glanced at the mansion behind him. I'm sure the $12 filters endangered the empire. The truth was embarrassingly close to her accusation. Daniel had discovered Mia's route usually brought her past his house between 4 and 5. He never requested her specifically, but he found himself ordering books, kitchen supplies, and household items he could easily have sent an employee to buy. Sometimes another driver arrived, and Daniel experienced an unreasonable disappointment. When Mia appeared, the house changed. She complained about traffic, described customers who provided impossible delivery instructions, and once spent 10 minutes explaining why the Knicks were determined to destroy her emotional stability. Daniel listened because her stories contained something his days lacked: ordinary life. His world was filled with board meetings, investment decisions, private cars, and people who carefully measured every sentence around him. Mia measured nothing. Your Christmas tree needs more terrible ornaments, she announced one afternoon. Terrible? Personal ornaments are supposed to be ugly. My mother's blue house is not ugly. That one gets immunity. The following day she delivered a package and handed him something extra. It was a cheap wooden ornament painted like a delivery van. I saw it at a street market. Daniel stared at it. You bought me an ornament. Don't make it weird. How much was it? If you reimburse me, I'm taking it back. Daniel smiled. Understood. He hung it beside the blue house. That evening he canceled dinner with 3 investors and ate takeout alone beside the Christmas tree, but for once alone did not feel identical to lonely. Mia was changing something. Daniel understood that much. What he did not understand was why she seemed increasingly important. Then a business magazine published photographs of him leaving a charity event. The article speculated about his famously private personal life and described him as Manhattan's most eligible billionaire bachelor. Mia saw it while waiting for a sandwich. The photograph made her uncomfortable for reasons she refused to examine. The next afternoon she became unusually formal at his door. Package for Mr. Hart. Daniel frowned. Mr. Hart. That's your name. Yesterday I was Daniel. Yesterday I hadn't read an article explaining that half of Manhattan apparently wants to marry you. I don't remember approving the article. That's not the point. What is the point? Mia looked at the townhouse. This is your world. I deliver boxes to it. Daniel understood suddenly. She was retreating. Have dinner with me. Mia blinked. What? Dinner. Friday. Are you asking your delivery driver on a date? I'm asking Mia Carter. She stared at him. You know my full name. It was on the receipt you dropped. That sounds mildly creepy. I considered not mentioning that. Mia laughed despite herself, then became serious. Daniel, you're a billionaire. I've been informed. And I make $19 an hour plus overtime. Does that prevent you from eating dinner? You know what I mean. He did. One dinner. You choose the restaurant. Mia hesitated. Why me? Daniel could have given her an easy answer. Instead he told the truth. Because when you leave, this house becomes quiet again. Mia's expression softened. That was the first time Daniel admitted his loneliness aloud, and it changed the question from whether a billionaire wanted a delivery girl to whether a lonely man was finally brave enough to ask someone to stay. Mia chose a tiny diner in Queens where the booths were cracked and the coffee arrived in thick white mugs. Daniel showed up without a driver, wearing jeans and a navy coat that still looked more expensive than Mia's monthly rent. You look nervous, she said. I negotiated a merger this morning. That doesn't answer me. Yes. Good. She smiled. Now you're human. Dinner lasted 3 hours. Mia told him about growing up in New Jersey, losing her father when she was 20, and leaving community college temporarily to help her family. Temporary had become 7 years. She still dreamed of finishing her degree in logistics management and someday running operations instead of delivering packages. Daniel listened without offering money or solutions. Mia noticed. "You're not going to tell me you can fix everything? Would you like me to?" "No, then no." She studied him approvingly. "You learn quickly." Daniel told her about building his first software company at 24 and selling it 4 years later. Success multiplied. So did expectations. Friends became business partners. Dates became headlines. His father moved to Florida. His mother remained the only person who entered his home without calling first. When she became ill, Daniel reduced his travel but never fully stopped working. "She died in January," he said. "Afterward everyone kept telling me to take time off." "Did you?" "I worked more." Mia nodded as though she understood perfectly. "Because work doesn't ask how you're doing." Daniel looked at her. "Exactly." When dinner ended, they walked outside into cold air. Daniel offered to call her a car. Mia pointed toward the subway entrance. "I'm a delivery driver. Public transportation does not frighten me. Can I see you again?" She tucked her hands into her coat pockets. "Maybe. That sounds inefficient. Welcome to dating." She descended the stairs smiling. Daniel returned home to the blue house and wooden delivery van hanging side by side on his tree. He realized Mia had done something nobody had managed in years. She had made him look forward to tomorrow for reasons that had nothing to do with work. Their second date was a Saturday afternoon at a used bookstore, followed by pizza. Their third was a walk through Central Park where Mia defeated him decisively in an argument about whether expensive hot chocolate actually tasted better. Daniel stopped ordering unnecessary packages because he no longer needed deliveries as an excuse to see her. Instead, he asked. Mia respected that. She also established rules. No surprise gifts worth more than $50. No sending cars without asking. No contacting her employer to improve her schedule. Daniel violated the second rule once during a snowstorm and received a 15-minute lecture. He never did it again. Their worlds remained dramatically different, but the difference became less frightening as they learned each other. Daniel visited Mia's mother's modest home in New Jersey and spent Sunday afternoon helping Lily assemble a bookshelf despite having no practical skill with furniture. Mia attended a Hartwell Foundation event and discovered Daniel was uncomfortable with public praise. She watched people surround him all evening, laughing too loudly at his jokes and asking for introductions, investments, or favors. Later, when they were alone on a balcony, she said, "I understand now." "Understand what?" "How someone can be surrounded by people and still be lonely." Daniel looked toward the ballroom. "Most people meet what I can do for them before they meet me. I met you while angry." "Exactly." It was refreshing. Mia laughed. Their relationship might have continued quietly if not for a photograph taken outside the diner after their fourth date. Within 24 hours, several entertainment websites identified Mia. "Delivery girl dating billionaire" became the easiest headline. Reporters appeared outside her workplace. Customers recognized her. One coworker joked about retirement. Another asked whether Daniel had bought her an apartment. Mia hated every second. Daniel wanted his legal team involved. "No," she said. "They're invading your privacy. And 20 attorneys arriving will definitely make me feel normal. Then tell me what you need." Mia looked at him. "I need you to understand that your life can swallow mine without even trying." The sentence stayed with Daniel. He had spent years believing his wealth gave him the ability to solve problems. Mia was showing him that sometimes wealth itself was the problem. 2 days later, she requested a different delivery route. She did not tell Daniel. When his usual delivery time passed 3 days in a row, he understood. He called once. Mia did not answer. He did not call again. A week passed. Daniel's townhouse returned to silence. The tree had been removed after Christmas, but he kept the blue house and delivery van on the kitchen shelf. One evening he received a message from Mia. "I need time to figure out whether I like you or whether I'm constantly fighting your world." Daniel typed several responses and deleted them all. Finally he wrote, "Take all the time you need. I'll be here." It was the hardest promise he had made because waiting required him to surrender control. Mia spent the next 3 weeks working, helping Lily prepare for exams, and trying not to miss Daniel. She failed. She missed his terrible jokes. She missed the way he listened. She missed watching him discover ordinary things he had somehow skipped while building an extraordinary career. But missing him did not solve the problem. Then a thick envelope arrived at her apartment. Mia nearly refused to open it when she saw Hartwell Foundation on the return address. Inside was not money. It was information about a scholarship program for working adults returning to college. A handwritten note from the program director explained that Mia qualified and that applications were independently reviewed. Daniel's name appeared nowhere. Mia called the director and asked directly whether Daniel had arranged it. The woman laughed. "Mr. Hart doesn't select recipients. His mother created this scholarship 8 years ago." Mia froze. His mother. She applied. 6 weeks later, she was accepted into a part-time operations management program with most tuition covered. She immediately suspected Daniel had known she might qualify. When she finally called him, he answered after one ring. "Hi." His voice was careful. "Did you send me the scholarship information?" "Yes. You said you wouldn't fix my life." "I didn't. I showed you a door. You decided whether to open it." Mia was quiet. "Your mother created it." She went back to college at 39. She believed people shouldn't be punished because life interrupted their plans. Mia sat on the edge of her bed. "Why didn't you tell me that?" "Because I didn't want her story to pressure you." That answer mattered more than he knew. "Can I see you?" she asked. Daniel arrived at the diner 40 minutes later. Mia was already in their old booth. He did not assume everything was repaired. He simply sat opposite her. "I got accepted," she said. His face brightened. "Congratulations. I start next month." "That's incredible. I'm reducing my delivery hours." "Good." She narrowed her eyes. "Careful. I mean good because you wanted to study." "Better." They smiled. Mia reached across the table. "I missed you." Daniel looked at her hand but did not touch it until she turned her palm upward. Then he took it. "I missed you too. I'm still scared of your world." "So am I sometimes." That is not reassuring. It is honest. Mia squeezed his hand. Honest works. Their relationship resumed differently. Daniel stopped trying to protect Mia from every inconvenience. Mia stopped assuming every gesture was an attempt to control her. They discussed problems before solving them. Months passed. Mia studied at night and continued deliveries 3 days a week. Daniel began spending less time at the office. He called his father more often. He invited 2 old college friends to dinner without discussing business. The townhouse slowly became less perfect and more alive. Mia left textbooks on the kitchen island. Daniel bought groceries he did not know how to cook. Lily visited and filled the guest room with nursing manuals. Mia's mother brought lasagna and criticized the expensive oven. Daniel loved all of it. One rainy spring afternoon, almost 6 months after the package incident, Mia arrived at his house wearing her delivery jacket. Daniel opened immediately. "You don't deliver this route anymore." "Special assignment." She held a cardboard box. "Should I be concerned?" "Probably. Daniel extended both hands defensively. I've learned. Mia laughed and tossed the box gently. He caught it. Full circle, he said. Open it. Inside was a framed photograph of the blue house ornament and wooden delivery van hanging together on his Christmas tree. Beneath the photograph Mia had written one sentence, "Every house deserves someone waiting inside." Daniel stared at it. Your mother was right, Mia said softly. His eyes lifted to hers. About what? The package. She stepped closer. You thought she sent you an ornament. Daniel looked down at the photograph. What did she send me? Maybe a reminder. Of what? Mia smiled. That being successful and being loved aren't the same thing. Daniel's expression changed. He had understood his mother's gift as a final message about loneliness. Mia had discovered something deeper. His mother had not been telling him to find someone simply so the house would not be empty. She had been reminding him that a home existed only when he allowed himself to belong to people as much as they belonged to him. Daniel placed the frame on the table. There's something I should tell you. Mia raised an eyebrow. That sentence usually means trouble. The first month we knew each other, I ordered packages I didn't need. She stared at him. I knew it. You accused me. And you lied. I said it would be financially irresponsible. That was absolutely a lie. Technically it was avoidance. Mia folded her arms. How many? I don't remember. Daniel. 27. Her mouth fell open. 27 packages. Some were useful. 6 kinds of coffee filters. Research. Mia tried to remain annoyed and failed. She started laughing. Daniel laughed with her. Then Mia's expression softened. You were really that lonely? He nodded. Yes. And you didn't know how to ask me to come back. I didn't know how to ask anyone. Mia stepped closer. You do now. Daniel took her hands. Stay for dinner. That's better. Stay tomorrow too. Getting ambitious. Stay as often as you want. Mia looked around the townhouse. It no longer felt like a museum. A college textbook sat on the counter. Her mother's leftover lasagna occupied the refrigerator. A photograph of Lily's graduation had appeared beside Daniel's family pictures. The home had changed before either of them noticed. I'm not moving in, she said. I didn't ask. Your face did. My face has poor boundaries. She smiled. Dinner. Tomorrow too. We'll negotiate after that. Daniel kissed her forehead gently. It was not a grand billionaire gesture. There were no diamonds, private jets, or photographers. It was simply affection offered without expectation, and Mia trusted it because he had learned how to give without purchasing an outcome. A year after Mia threw the package, Snow returned to Manhattan. She was finishing her second semester with straight A's and had recently been promoted to an operations coordinator position at the delivery company. Daniel had offered no influence. She had earned it. Hartwell Technologies continued growing, but Daniel no longer measured his life entirely by what grew on financial statements. On the anniversary of their meeting, Mia walked up the familiar townhouse steps carrying a small package. Daniel opened the door before she knocked. I saw you on the camera. At least you learned something. I learned several things. Name 3. Answer the door quickly. Never reimburse you for gifts. And never underestimate an angry woman holding a cardboard box. Excellent. She handed him the package rather than throwing it. You're getting soft, he said. Open it before I reconsider. Inside was another ornament, this one shaped like 2 tiny figures standing beside a red delivery van. Daniel laughed. Terrible. Personal ornaments are supposed to be ugly. He looked at her. I remember. They walked into the living room. The Christmas tree was smaller than the professionally decorated one from the year before. Mia had insisted they decorate it themselves. Some ornaments hung too close together. The lights were slightly uneven. Daniel considered it perfect. He placed the new ornament beside the blue house and delivery van. Mia stood beside him, her shoulder touching his. "Your mother would approve," she said. "She would love you." Mia looked up. "You think?" "I know." Daniel reached into his pocket. Mia immediately noticed. "What are you doing?" "Relax." Last time a billionaire says relax before producing something from his pocket, it usually becomes a very expensive problem. Daniel pulled out a folded piece of paper. "No jewelry." "Good." She opened it. It was the original delivery receipt from the first package, carefully preserved. Her name was printed at the bottom. Across the top Daniel had written, "Best delivery I ever received." Mia laughed, then covered her mouth as emotion caught her unexpectedly. "You kept this?" "It was the first thing with your name on it." "That is either romantic or deeply weird." "I'm hoping romantic." "Barely." Daniel smiled. "Mia, before you arrived, I thought loneliness was simply the price of building the life I wanted. I had convinced myself that empty rooms meant privacy and silence meant peace." She listened quietly. "Then you threw a package at me." "A memorable introduction." "Very." He took her hand. "You didn't rescue me. I need you to know that. You made me realize I was allowed to change. There's a difference." Mia's eyes filled. "That might be the smartest thing you've ever said. I've founded several companies. Still this." Daniel laughed. "I love you. I love you too." Outside, snow fell across Manhattan. Inside, the townhouse was warm with mismatched decorations, unfinished homework, family photographs, and evidence of two lives gradually learning how to share space without either disappearing into the other. Mia had once assumed Daniel's money meant he possessed everything anyone could want. Daniel had once assumed Mia's ordinary life was something his wealth could improve. They had both been wrong. Mia did not need rescuing from an ordinary life, and Daniel did not need rescuing by a woman. What they needed was the courage to be known without titles, uniforms, bank accounts, or expectations standing between them. Daniel looked toward the blue house ornament his mother had sent before she died. A year earlier, it had arrived in an enormous silent home and seemed almost painfully hopeful. Now it hung among photographs, handmade decorations, and ridiculous wooden souvenirs collected during 12 months with Mia. The house itself had not changed. It still had 23 rooms, expensive furniture, and more square footage than two people reasonably needed. But Daniel no longer counted the empty rooms. He noticed the kitchen where Mia studied while he cooked badly, the guest room where Lily stayed during exams, the dining table where Mia's mother insisted everyone eat together, and the front steps where an exhausted delivery driver once lost her patience with a stranger. Mia followed his gaze toward the tree. "What are you thinking?" "That your delivery was late." She stared at him. "Excuse me?" 12 minutes and 43 seconds. "That was your fault." "I know." He smiled. "I'm just thinking I waited 37 years for it, so 12 extra minutes probably didn't matter." Mia shook her head. "That was terrible." "You're smiling." "Against my will." Daniel pulled her gently closer. Outside the windows, the city moved at its usual impossible speed, millions of people rushing towards somewhere they believed they needed to be. Daniel had spent most of his life doing the same. That night, for perhaps the first time, he felt no urge to chase anything. The company could wait. His phone could wait. Tomorrow could wait. Mia was beside him, laughing at the ugly ornament she had bought, and the house his mother once feared would remain empty finally sounded like a home. The billionaire who could buy almost anything had discovered the one thing money had never been able to deliver to his door. It had taken a stubborn woman in a rain-soaked red jacket, a cardboard box thrown in frustration, and the courage to open the door before he understood that the most valuable arrival of his life had never been inside the package at all.